we have a great and tremendous responsibilities as a believers to share the message of the gospel with those who are the perishing, those who are drowning in the ocean of the sea. So we must never forget these missions of the evangelism and mission. In Isaiah 52, which was also quoted in the Romans 10:15, it says that how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. We must strive hard to bring the good news to other people, and those feet are beautiful because we are sharing the good news of a victory of Jesus on the cross. So we must share the gospel with the people around us, around our family members and friends and relatives and neighbors around us, and in this community. But remember, we must also share the gospel with all the people groups around the world, not just in the Hopewell or Prince George or Petersburg and Richmond, not just in Virginia, not just in America, but we must make all nations disciples of Jesus. This is what Jesus said in Matthew 24:14. He was talking about the signs of the end times, the many signs of the end time. And among the many signs of the end times, he said that this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. When the gospel is preached to all the nations, and the end will come. So, this is the prophecy I believe the devil is very afraid of. He'll try his best to stop us preaching the gospel because he knows that his end is coming. But that means we must strive hard to share the gospel to the end of the earth. So it's been more than 2,000 years since Jesus gave this command to us. And he was resurrected and ascended into heaven. But there are still many people around the world who never heard the message of the gospel, and it is our responsibility to share the gospel. Don't think that the missions are just for the mega churches, big churches in big cities. No, it's not like that. The task of missions has given to us. And this is our responsibility as a church and my responsibility as an individual Christian. Well, I want to share with you today my involvement in mission while I'm serving in my previous church. And the reason I'm sharing this is to let you know and understand and pray and support my missions. And we can, as a community of faith, we can also get involved in the missions as well. Okay? My focus on the mission, I'm going to show you the pictures of the ministry that I've been doing. So the Bible declares, "Go and make disciples of all nations." So we must have the Great Commission vision, just not within these, the cities, but we must go to the end of the world. This is a current, The main focus of my ministry has been in West Africa, and here's the reason that I focus on the West Africa. Let me show you this one. Okay, this is like a global summary. And I cannot read it. There are people groups about 16,000, and there are unreached people group more than 6,000. Unreached people groups are those who they do not have a chance to hear the message of the gospel, with less than 2% of the people, believers in that particular country. So in the world, there are more than 7 billion, and about half of them belong to that's much better. Half of them belong to the unreached people groups. And that's about 42%. Yeah. So if you look at the bottom of it in the graph, the red bar, that's how many people do not have access to the message of the gospel. And that's the group of people that we must focus on and to share the gospel. So here's the progress scale. The red one is unreached people group, and that's less than 2% of the people. They belong to evangelicals, and the professing Christians means including like Catholics and other groups. So when you just consider the evangelicals, only less than 2% people belong to the first category. Okay, and here's the reason that I focus on the West Africa. If you look at the map there, the red dot, that's the people groups who belong to the unreached people groups with less than 2% of all the professed Christians. Look at that. In the West African countries, there are so many people groups in the West African the countries. And also, let me briefly give you the 3 reasons why it is like that. First of all, many West African countries, they are French-speaking countries. They speak in French. When people say they are doing missions in Africa, normally they do it in English-speaking African countries. Because normally the missionary sending countries are English-speaking countries. So that's why the West African countries who speak in French, they are kind of marginalized and ignored in missions effort. And secondly, the importance of the West African countries is because Islamic power and influence are growing in that area, and more people are becoming Muslims. And also, these countries are the poorest countries in the world. Let me show you this. Yeah, these are the economic level. The ones in blue, they are developed countries. The country is in red color, is developing countries, and those in red, that's the least developed countries. So, let's look at the whole map there. Yeah, see, the many countries in Africa, especially those in the West Africa, they belong to the least developed countries. So, with these 3 reasons, not many missionaries, not many churches, and lots of Muslims, especially like Senegal, 97% of them are Muslims, and these are the poorest countries in the world. So that's why I focus on this area, and that's why I've been doing this the missions in West Africa since 2012. Let me share with you my missions in the West Africa in many different ways. First of all, it's a medical mission. In the year 2013, when I visited the Ivory Coast, I asked the missionary there take me to the poorest place of that country in Abidjan. We went to village together. It was really filthy, smelly, and dirty places. And it's normally a place that, the women with their children living together without father. But they can't afford to rent a house there. So normally 2 women with their own children. They live together in a one room, and it's unimaginable. And also, I visited some of the houses, and these are the children, they are sisters, and I thought that, to be honest with you, I thought at first they have like a leprosy. I thought that they are lepers, but it was not. They had a skin disease from their birth. They never saw the doctor. Never saw the doctor. So they had all the bubbles around their whole body, and they scratch it and they burst it, and they're just repeating it again and again and again. They never saw the doctor. Another boy I saw, he was losing the sight. The only thing he could do was having the bandage on it. And another one had a car accident and twisted the arms, never saw the doctor, and it was just, like that. So that broke my heart. Yeah, on the day that I visited that village, in my heart, God was telling me, you give them something to eat. Remember what that is? It's in Mark, when Jesus saw the 5,000 people without food. That's what Jesus said to disciples. You feed them something to eat. And somehow, I heard that voice in my heart, again and again. And each time I said, no, God, I don't have that much money. I cannot do it. But as I resist, that voice came to me more strongly. So I talked about it with a missionary there with the idea of beginning the medical mission there, establishing a clinic and hiring a doctor and nurses and making the clinic. I did not have any resources at the time. My church that I served in Texas is not that big. I did not know how God will work through it. But, amazing. I'm going to share about in detail later on. But when God gives you the vision, and if you obey, God will provide your need. That's what I believe. And after all, we began the clinic in Abidjan, especially to treat the poor. And there was I believe 2014. In 2014, and this is like opening ceremony that with the doctor and nurses there. And this is the clinic. So we had a clinic, and we normally visited very remote places where there is no hospitals and no clinics and whatsoever. So people in the many villages, they do not have access to see the doctor at all. So we began the medical missions in many remote places, and now we have like an internal medicine doctor, the dentist, and the eye doctor all joined together, and we go around the villages once a month, and a lot of people gather together before they reach, and normally we see more than 100 people each time, and we've been really blessed. We share the gospel, and we treat them, and we connect them to the local churches, and it has been really blessing. Each year more than 12. 1,200. At least 12. Actually, more than 1,500 people. They hear the gospel through this ministry, only for visiting the villages. And another medical mission we do is we found that there are so many patients with hernia. Whether that's young kids or adults, there are so many. So we decided to select each person each month, and we do the surgery for them. it only costs about $300 in US dollars, but it's a lot there. It's a lot. There's no way they can save that much more money. So each month we select them, and every 3 months we do surgery. 3 of them together every 3 months. Yeah, that's what we are doing. We've been doing in Ivory Coast. And I've been involved in the education and the seminary as well. For the education, this is the school, middle and high school there in Ivory Coast. And the missionary took me a place where there's a big land, and the people in the village, they have like several elementary school, but they do not have any middle school. And the only those who are rich, they can send their kids to the Abidjan, which is more than an hour away. And then the rest of the kids, they do not have any opportunity to continue their education. So the villagers donated the land, but they did not have money to build the church. So I shared that vision with my church members in back in there. And when the missionary visited our church, we made a special donation, and that became the seed money to start that school. Now I don't know how many students are enrolled right now. Maybe close to several hundred, the students. And it's been tremendous blessing. And my wife was visiting there, the one in blue shirt. That's my wife. Yeah. And I also do the teachings to train the spiritual leaders in West Africa. First, we began in the year 2012 in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, and now we do it in Dakar, Senegal as well, and also Paris in France. Because in Paris there are many West Africans living there, and there are many churches. But the spiritual leaders, pastors there, they did not have a formal education. So we felt the need to start the seminary there. So now we have the seminary education in Abidjan and Dakar in Paris. So I rotate around and teach them. And now also from maybe 4 years ago, we started church planting initiative. So I teach as one of the faculties in those seminaries, but I'm in charge of the planting churches. As the students they graduate, we felt the need that we need to start more churches. So we select the men who are who has a potential to be a good church planters, and we support them 3 years until the church become stable. So that's what I've been doing. I'm serving as a director for CPI, a church planting initiative. And this is the first church that we built in nearby in Ivory Coast. Yeah, that is a beautiful, and I have lots of story to tell you about this, but I don't have enough time. Yeah, this is the first church we began, and this is a dedication ceremony. And those in white, cloth, it's like the heretic group. They even joined our dedication service, and I shared the message of the gospel with them. And this is what we did in Senegal. In Senegal, I found that some pastors they planted more than the multiple churches. And what they do is they go around each church by walking. They don't have any transportation. So it takes several hours for them to go around the churches and preach. So, my church, we bought 10 motorcycles. Motorcycles there, it's like a luxurious car for them. They cannot buy the motorcycle. So we bought 10 motorcycles and donate to the church planters and pastors who are pastoring more than 3 churches. And the result was tremendous. They reported how God is using their motorcycle so that they can go around and even transporting the patient, and also taking the projector and showing the Jesus film, the movie, and the many people got converted. So wonderful testimony I'm still hearing. Yeah, this is the ceremony that we give them, the motorcycle. So it is my hope and desire that our church become like that. We need to focus on evangelism and mission so that more people come to know Jesus through us. Amen?